What's good, y'all? In today's video, we are going to talk a little bit about something related to the housing market. I was actually going to do a video on the housing market and what's going on with the housing market. Then I thought about it. I was like, I bought us a couple of houses and some houses in my day, but I don't know shit about the housing market. So I reached out to a couple of realtors, some people I knew on IG, and then I thought about it. I had an epiphany. I said, you know what? I'm going to ask my realtor to come on the show so we can talk housing, because I know I was a pain in the ass. I was probably the worst client you could have as a realtor. So she definitely said she would do it. That's going to be dope. But right now we are going to talk about equity. What is equity and what are the 4 ways that you can access your equity if you have it? Now, I will tell you in this video, I am not talking about the pros and cons of equity. So if you do plan on utilizing your equity in your home, hey, make sure you do your due diligence. Talk to a professional if you have to. That's another video that I'm gonna come out with. Generally, I guess the answer would be there are very few situations where I personally would pull out the equity in my house. But in any event, today's video gonna be a good one. It should be short. It should be interesting. We are talking about equity, the 4 ways you can get equity. Let's get it. I'm Marcus, you're at the channel The Debt Free Dad, where we're talking financial takes, financial topics, some fun topics, following my family's journey when we make financial moves, all of the above. That's what's going on here. As always, I am a licensed attorney who's been practicing law for well over a decade. I never give anybody the exact time, but y'all can see by this big ass gray patch that it's been a long time. But that means I'm not your attorney. So this isn't legal advice. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just giving my opinion on financial topics and takes, letting y'all know what we got cracking over here in the household of the Debt-Free Dad. And, you know, it's for entertainment purposes. So always do your own research. Let's get it. Let's talk home equity. What is equity? Equity is essentially when your home value is more than what you actually owe on your home. For example, if your home is $200,000, you paid $200,000 for it. Over 2 years, you paid off $50,000. Hey, now you have $50,000 of equity in your home because you paid off $50,000. That 200 balance went to 150, but the home value is still $200,000. So you have $50,000 of equity. That's what equity is, short and simple. Okay, there are 4 ways to build equity in your home. The first way is to just pay your mortgage. Every time you make a mortgage payment, a certain percentage goes towards the interest and fees. A certain percentage goes to paying down the principal, which is what you actually owe on your loan balance. You continue to pay that off. And after, 5, 10, 15 years, you look and you actually make a pretty good dent in your principal. As you pay off the principal balance on the amount that you borrow, you are earning equity. Again, in that example, if you borrowed $200,000, after 5 years, you pay off $25,000. Now you have $25,000 in equity because you paid your loan balance down. The closer that loan balance go to 0, the more equity that you have. The second way you can build equity in your home is to actually make improvements to it. If you make improvements to your home, you put new floors, you redo the kitchen, you put a privacy fence up, you put a new roof on, solar panels, all of this high-speed stuff. Making improvements increases your equity in your home because your home value will go up. So in that example, home is $200,000. You buy the house and a month later, you put in $10,000 to redo the kitchen. Well, you probably increase your home value by more than $10,000. So that increase between the amount you borrowed and what the new value is with the improvements is how much equity you have in your home. And when you have equity, the important part of it is it's a way for you to access that money. The third way to get equity in your home is, hey, when you make a down payment on the actual purchase. That's why no matter if the down payment is 3%, 20%, 30%, when you make a down payment on the home, you are coming in with equity. Let's just be honest. When you buy a house, most times, even if you paid zero down, like you had a VA loan, you'll probably have some equity in the home, because most times the home value will appraise for more than what the actual purchase price is. I'll tell you, I've never purchased a home where the home value didn't appraise for more than the actual purchase price. In order for the loan to go through to purchase the home value has to appraise for at least the purchase price of the home. Every time I purchase a home, it always appraises for more. But the more you put down, the more equity that you come in with. So in that example, again, if you're buying a $200,000 home and you're putting $20,000 down as a down payment, that means you will have $20,000 worth of equity that you could potentially access or borrow from that home because you put $20,000 down. So your loan balance is only $180,000 and the value of the house would be $200,000. The last way is the best way to get equity in your home, and that's simply by just doing absolutely nothing. Just don't destroy your house and make your payments. If you don't destroy your house and make your payments, your home value will increase just because of market conditions, just because of inflation, just because of everything in the ecosystem that can impact the value of your home. The first way that you can get equity, pull money out your home to use it, is by getting a second mortgage. So I buy a house for $200,000. After 5 years, that house is worth $300,000. I want to borrow $50,000 to buy a vacation home as a down payment. I can go get a second mortgage. I'm getting another mortgage on the house for the $50,000 of the $100,000 total equity that I have. And that $50,000 is going to get cut to me as a check or deposited in my account. Now I have $50,000 that I can use on the down payment on the vacation home or whatever the hell that I wanted to use it for. Now, the thing with the second mortgage is it's actually a second mortgage. So in that example, I would have to pay the original mortgage that I used when I purchased the home, and I would be repaying that loan back of $50,000, that second mortgage, the money that I pulled out of the house. Not to mention, in that example, I would also be paying the note on the vacation house. So that's how it works. When you get a second mortgage, it means that you're going to have another payment. You're going to have to pay the first mortgage. You're going to have to pay the loan on the equity that you took out, and that's kind of what it is. The easiest way to get the equity out of your house is to just sell it. When you sell your house and you make a profit, that's essentially you getting the equity out of your house. Again, let's go back to the example. Buy a house for $200,000. I keep that house for 10 years. I paid down my mortgage to $100,000. I paid off $100,000 in 10 years. The house, I bought it for $200,000. I paid that balance down to $100,000, and the house is worth $300,000. So now when I sell it, I'm essentially going to get $200,000 in profits, minus the fees and closing costs and everything like that. And that is a way to pull the equity out. I'm pulling the value out of the house because I'm selling the house at a plus. The value and the price that I sold the house for, minus what I owe on it, all of that is coming into my pocket. I essentially took the equity out and I'm stashing it in the bank. And the benefit, because it's my primary residence, I don't have to pay taxes on up to $250,000. For married couples, $500,000. That's way number 2. Let's talk about the third way that people pull out equity of their home, and that's called a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. Now, essentially, let's just think of a HELOC as a credit card, okay? With a second mortgage, you just get one lump sum payment of, hey, $50,000. That's all you got, is a done deal. Now I'm repaying back my original mortgage, plus that loan for that $50,000 I borrowed. With a home equity line of credit, again, go back to the example. I got a $200,000 house. I paid down the mortgage payment that I owe. I paid down that loan balance to $100,000. Now I have $100,000 worth of equity. House is worth $200,000. I only owe $100,000. I got $100,000 worth of equity. A home equity line of credit will essentially give me a line of credit to use like a credit card. Okay, you got $100,000 in equity. We're going to give you a line of credit for $80,000. And if I don't use it, I don't pay anything. So when you're thinking of home equity line of credit, imagine just having a credit card for the equity in your home for you to use at your disposal. And once you use it, you got to start paying that shit back. So that's way number 3. And the final way to pull the equity out of your house, and this is where everybody always try to game me. I never did it, but is a refinance. But I actually did a refinance on my primary residence last year when interest rates were at all-time lows. Like our interest rate was like 5%. We got it to like 2.25%, which was crazy. Saved us like $1,000 a month, which is insane. But with the refinance, essentially a refinance is, hey, you're going to get an entire new loan to satisfy the entire balance on the loan. So let's say I had a $200,000 house. After 5 years, I paid that loan balance down $50,000. So now I owe $150,000. Well, I want a new interest rate, a lower interest rate, presumably. So I say, you know what? I'm going to refinance. I'm going to borrow money to pay off this original loan balance. So one of the benefits of that, and it's kind of a benefit and a negative, you can restart the cycle. So if I had a 15-year mortgage and I've been making payments for 5 years, I can refinance to get a new loan to satisfy that actual remaining balance and start it over at 30 years or 15 years, which I wouldn't do at all, but some people do that. So with a cash out refi, essentially you're getting a new mortgage to satisfy the original mortgage that you had. And if you have equity in your home, if your home is worth more than it was when you bought it, you can elect to get money in your pocket. So in our $200,000 example, we only owe $150,000 on the mortgage. I'm going to get, I got $50,000 worth of equity because it's worth $200,000. Instead of just getting a refinance at $150,000 to satisfy that original mortgage, I'm going to get $180,000. $150,000 is going to satisfy that original mortgage, and $30,000 is going to go in my pocket because I just want to stash it for whatever. So some people elect to do that. If you do a cash out refi, unlike a second mortgage and a HELOC, you'll only have one mortgage payment. It won't be a first mortgage or a second mortgage or a first mortgage and a payment on a home equity line of credit. But that, in short, are the ways where you can pull out the equity and how you can get equity in your home. Again, you can sell it, get the equity. You can take out a second mortgage, get the equity. You can do a HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit, like having a credit card for the equity. Or you can do a cash out refinance that'll just have you having one mortgage payment. Again, they all have their pros and cons. So if you're thinking about doing any of these, hey, take your time, do your due diligence. It may be advantageous to talk to a professional, a CPA, an accountant, someone who can give you some guidance or granularity. And later on, I'm going to do a video on the very few situations where I would actually take the equity out of my home. It ain't that many. That video probably going to be 3 damn minutes. Hey, if you got some value out of this video, make sure y'all subscribe, hit the like button, share. As always, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all take care. Be blessed. Peace.